Good morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? Me? Well, I'm officially a year older than I was the last time I was sat here. So thank you for all the birthday messages from yesterday. But none of the messages I received quite compared to the one that I got from our youngest viewer, Henry. You might recall that when he sent me a bunch of JCB goodies for my last birthday, well, he's gone one better this time around. He sent me this. Bear with me. I don't know if the glare is picking that up. The Breakfast Show in a frame, my name on it, a couple of diggers on there as well. That is going. If you have a look behind me, let me see which side it is. It's there. You see there is currently a box set of the Ultravox Vienna album, my favourite album of all time. That new sign is going to take its place. It's going to go in front of it. So that's going to be a permanent fixture on the show. So thank you very much indeed, Henry, for such a very special present. And then this morning, there came a knock at the door of Demolition News Towers, and the postman came bearing gifts. 4 bottles and 2 cans of root beer, enough to set my diabetes senses tingling, and enough for me to do a thorough root beer taste test. I can't find a message in the box, so I'm going to take a wild guess that this probably came from my root beer dealer in chief, Mr. Gary Muirhead. So thanks, Gary. It's actually sat on my desk as we speak, and can I just say, thus far, that is my favourite root beer in all of the world. Barks. Yeah, looking forward to giving that one a try. There's an A&W in there as well, and several others besides. So, yes, if I'm in a diabetic coma next time you see me, you kind of know why. It'll also give me an opportunity to give the taste buds a bit of a preparation for ahead of next month's root beer onslaught when I'm in Vegas. Now, even though it's just 2 days since I was last out here, a lot has happened. Our YouTube channel passed the 47,000 subscriber mark this weekend. My new weekly column dropped just this morning, and it's inspired by last Friday's superb discussion with Andy Stevens. I can tell you, I'm talking too quickly. I haven't touched the root beer yet, but I'm going to. Yeah, it was inspired by last Friday's superb discussion with Andy Stevens, and the column is called "Workers Die While Charities Jostle." You can find that using the link in the chat, and you can also head on over to demolitionnews.com. You can find it there as well. Also, this weekend, I wrote to the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, to call for her to consider a public inquiry into the delays in the Thames Valley Police investigation into the Didcot disaster that we covered last week. I think 7 years is more than enough time to carry out an investigation to bring some closure for the families of the 4 families of the men killed there. I'll keep you posted on that one, although given the fact that she's trying to find a seat to stand in the next election and is being inundated with migrants crossing the channel still, and the fact that Brexit just refuses to leave her desk, I'm not expecting an answer anytime soon, but I will keep you posted. And there's further proof that I didn't just use my birthday as an excuse to ease off. We spent a fair bit of this weekend devising a brand new show that will be coming to your eye holes and your earballs early in April. The new regular show will be focused purely upon new machines in the field of demolition and construction equipment. It'll be much shorter format than this one, and a lot punchier too. My plan is for this to be a news show, so it's just going to be bosh. I'm hoping we can get the main part of the show done and dusted in about 10 minutes so we don't take up too much of your time. That show doesn't actually have a name yet, although I do have a working title in mind. But if anybody has any suggestions on a title for a show of that type, please let me know. And for once, I'm actually being sensible and giving myself a bit of time to perfect the idea. A lot of what we've done before, this show included, was very much on the spur of the moment. I had an idea, pressed the button, and we ironed out the wrinkles as we've gone along. This time, particularly as I need to get ConExpo in the can first, I'm actually allowing myself some thinking time before unleashing the new short format show on a largely unsuspecting public. But we will keep you informed as we go along. And also, just a very quick reminder to those that are that way inclined, on Wednesday this week, we will be gathering for the first ever Construction Content Creators Club meeting on, let me think, it's Wednesday evening. It's not an open thing, it's a private chat, so but I'll be reporting back on that as well. And one other thing that I need to add, just as a matter of housekeeping, Sprocket Show. I quite like the idea of that, says Ken Hatcher. Yes, myself and Fred are due on site in London tomorrow, roughly the same time that the beast from the east is expected to dump a load of snow onto us here in the south of England. So pray for us. But we won't be here tomorrow. There will be no Breakfast Show tomorrow. I repeat, no Breakfast Show tomorrow. So pray for us, and all things being equal, we'll be back on Wednesday. Right, we've already been going for 7 minutes and we haven't even started the show yet. So let me roll the intro, post the question of the day, and get this show on the road. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I'm your host, Mark Anthony. It is Monday, the 27th of February, not Friday the 25th, which is what it says on my screen. Thankfully, when your birthday arrives, you can't know what the date is. But welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony. In today's show, Bobcat showcases its latest compact wheel loader. On my screen, it says company wheel loader. A bit of a rush this morning. We're going all electric with Volvo Construction Equipment, and we're staying electric with Husqvarna as they unveil their first battery-driven plate compactor. Plus, ConExpo 2023 is now less than 2 weeks away, which means that it will be less than 100 days to PlantworX when we get back from Las Vegas. So as that appears and starts to loom on the industry horizon, we're going to give you a sneak preview of the UK event as well. And we're going to get to all of that in just a second. But first, let's see who among the rich and the shameless will be celebrating a birthday on this day of days. Happy birthday! And it's many happy returns to Roman Emperor Constantine the Great. I wonder how great he actually was. It's also a birthday for Charles Strite. Charles Strite, I hear you say. Who was he? He was the man who invented the pop-up toaster. What a legacy. Could barely get through a morning without him. Happy birthday also to author John Steinbeck, radio comedian Kenneth Horne, you know, from Around the Horn, actresses Joanne Woodward and Elizabeth Taylor, and to politician Paddy Pants Down, Ash Down, to Steve Harley from Cockney Rebel, Gary Christian from The Christians, actor Tim Spall, Paul Humphreys from Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, or OMD as they're also known, illusionist Darren Brown, should I say, and to singer Peter Andre. But far more importantly, today marks the birthday of a British-born industrial designer, the man who made the iPhone look like the iPhone. Sir Johnny Ive, many happy returns to them, one and all. And while we're in congratulatory mood, hats off to our mate Callum McIntosh at the Scottish Plant Owners Association, who has just been recognised with an award for outstanding achievement by the Trade Association Forum. I had no idea there was a Trade Association Forum, but why the hell not? Under Callum's guidance, the SPOA has been punching way above its weight for quite a while now. So congratulations, Callum. That really is a well-deserved honour. Now, before we get started, here's a very quick reminder of our question of the day. Yes, are you planning to attend PlantworX in June? I realise it's quite a way off yet, but get your diaries out, put the dates in your diary, but let me know if you're going to be there so that we can meet up. Now, we'll get to your answers on that one after the show, but first, this. Very few equipment manufacturers have been as active in the area of new product development as Bobcat these past few years. If you saw our coverage from the Balmer exhibition, you will know that the company had a whole rake of new machines on display. And apparently, they're not done yet. Here's the new L28 compact wheel loader from Bobcat. Looks like a winner to me. And on the subject of winners, bit of a sneak preview. This, as I mentioned at the top of today's show, we are working on a new weekly show that's going to be focused purely on bringing you details of the hottest new machines in the field of construction equipment. But we're very keen, even though the show is going to be quite short format, we're very keen that it's going to be as interactive as is humanly possible. So we're dredging up a concept that some of the older generation might recall from the show Jukebox Jury, in which musicians and singers would pass judgment on the new records by voting it a hit or a miss. We're going to steal that idea entirely. So when we show off a new product, you'll have the opportunity to vote hit or miss. Hit if you think it's a winner, miss if you don't. We have some other ideas lined up for that show as well. So watch this space. We'll keep you posted. Now, I want to throw over very quickly to the chat. Had one here from Rob on YouTube. Did you ever watch my video? Not sure. Do you even remember me? Not sure again. What did you think of the video, Rob? I'm going to have to check back through the back catalogue, I'm afraid. If I tell you, we're currently running here in just purely for Demolition News. This isn't Diggers and Dozers, which is even worse. But Diggers and Dozers, Demolition News rather, is currently running at somewhere between 120 and 140 emails per day. Things get lost, I'm afraid. I do apologise for that. Half of your discussions is naming organisations and entities no one knew existed. Yeah, very true. I had no idea there was a trade association for them. You're absolutely right. But given the fact they just honoured one of our number, then seems only appropriate that we should give them a bit of a mention. So I think we need a bit of this. Right, our new show will be launching in just over a month, just so you're aware. We're hoping that the eyes of the construction equipment world will be watching. 2 months after that, we know that the eyes of the watching world will be turned towards the East of England showground as the PlantworX show makes a welcome return after an enforced COVID-19 layoff. So with that show now just 103 days away, allow us to whet your appetite just a little bit. So, ConExpo in March, PlantworX in June, and we might actually sneak in a little something between the two as well. 2023 is going to be quite a big year, isn't it? Okay, people, we're about to go all electric, but before I do, allow me to save you some time and some typing. I know that we barely have enough electricity to meet current demand without an influx of new construction equipment to further sap the grid. I know that not all electricity is created as green as some might want you to believe, and I realise there's still a very large question mark over electric equipment resale values and about what happens to the machines and their batteries when they reach the end of their working life. I know all of that, but I also know that the tide of electric machines is gathering pace, particularly at the compact end of the market. I also know that some very big names and some very smart people are placing their faith on at least a partially electric future. So, who am I to argue?
This construction site may look like nothing to make a film about, but two things set this work apart from your average digging a hole in the ground: the location and the unique tools used for this job.
We are here at Campus Lundby, Gothenburg, Sweden, and doing this unique project, which is a zero emission 100% electric product. First time ever.
In this project, Volvo is not only the producer of electric construction equipment and trucks, the company is also the client, who is dedicated to speed up the journey towards zero emission. And what's a better place to start than on your own doorstep?
We were contacted by Volvo and asked to do this job, and they requested that we use electric machines. It sounded like a fun project, so all the tools we're using are 100% electrical.
This is an important project for us on the site, and as well for learning about fossil-free excavators and to see how to use them in real life.
It has been so positive from all players involved, which is of course important. We want to see more of this when it comes to zero emission.
We'll be sticking with the electric theme right after this, but need to address this in the chat. Our friend Rob over on YouTube says, do you get paid to play these company videos? Feels like a long infomercial. No, we don't get paid to play these videos. We do get paid to play the adverts in between them, but things like the Volvo one that we just showed you, the PlantworX one we showed you, the Bobcat one we showed you, no money changes hands for that whatsoever. And just to put your mind at ease, if you think that these are like an infomercial, go back and look at Friday's show, which was all about mental health and suicide. Go back to Thursday's show, which was entirely dedicated to the death of 4 demolition workers at Didcot. Have a look at those and then think if you still believe this is an infomercial. I did say that we were going to be sticking with all things electric, and I'm man of my word, but we need to get this out of the way first. Now, to some, they are a mower manufacturer. To others, they're a tool maker. To me, they're the only real alternative in the demolition robot market. But it turns out that Husqvarna is also active in the compaction equipment sector. Not only that, the company is also on the electrification trail. I'm struggling to say words today. The electrification trail. Have a look at this.
Welcome, my name is Magnus Lindeberg. I'm the product manager for the compaction equipment at Husqvarna Construction. And today I'm very excited to introduce the LFE60 LHE, our first battery-driven forward plate. The LFE60 LHE runs on a Honda EGX battery platform. It's specially developed for compaction application. It means it's extremely easy to start and use, and you have no direct exhaust fumes. It has a 720 watt-hour lithium battery, which gives you up to 45 minutes of runtime. And of course, the battery is easy to remove when it's time for charging and easy to attach back with only one single locking system. As all our forward plates, the LFE60 has the single casted eccentric bottom plate fitted with maintenance-free bearings, making the entire machine almost maintenance-free. The water tank can easily be filled on the machine or removed and filled. There are no pipes or tubes that can clog or break. 2 holes distribute the water to the sprinkler channel. The sprinkling comes from the vibration of the bottom plate. Simple and efficient and requires no maintenance. When working with asphalt, we have a smart convex design of the bottom plate. Because it's slightly curved, the asphalt won't stick to the bottom plate. These two features together, the water distribution system and the special bottom plate designs, allow you to smoothly turn on fresh asphalt without leaving any marks. This plate is truly a great choice when compacting fresh asphalt. One feature I want to highlight is our patented low vibration handle. It is so simple, yet so effective. And this is a standard feature. It reduces the hand-on vibration to less than 2 meters per square seconds, allowing the operator to work longer hours. The transport wheels allows easy transportation. The machine has a single lifting point and foldable handle for compact and easy transportation. Now I want to show you how easy this machine is to start. You power it up, press start, and you are ready to go. We also have block paving kits as an accessory to help you with your block paving works. For more information and demo, please contact your closest Husqvarna representative.
Those Swedes do love them some electric equipment, don't they?
Since the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
One final thing before we go and have a chat amongst ourselves. Although I'm scheduled to fly out in just 12 days' time, the doors of the ConExpo show actually open in 15 days from now. Some of the larger kit is actually already in place at the Las Vegas Convention Center, and the rest of the exhibitors will soon be lifting their gear into place, which will probably be easier for some than for others.
Jessica here, inviting you to visit Kenco at the ConExpo 2023, March 14th through the 18th. As the continued leader in the lifting attachment industry, we have over 30 years of expertise designing lifting attachment solutions that save you time and money. We'll be located at booth 44001 in the West Hall. We'll be hosting live demonstrations of some of our most popular lifting attachments, including the barrier lift, the pipe hook, the multi-lift, and many, many more. So be sure to add us to your itinerary. Our team of Below the Hook specialists will be there and ready to answer any questions you may have. We will see you there.
Hey, you may do. I don't actually know Kenco at all. And my ConExpo diary is looking pretty damn full, but if I can swing by their stand, I most certainly will.
Sorry to interrupt the guy with the funny glasses, but if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button as it helps our channel. Or, better still, share this video with a friend or a colleague. Thank you. Right, back to Beardy.
Right, that pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. Quick reminder, no show tomorrow. Please don't arrive here tomorrow expecting me to be here. I won't be. I'm going to be on site in London, probably freezing my parts off. So don't expect me to be here tomorrow, but I will be back. I'll be back on Wednesday as per usual, but I will also be back in Wednesday evening for our first ever, the inaugural Construction Content Creators Club meeting. I wish I'd come up with a shorter name for that. I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into the chat to see what you're all saying today. If you can't stick around for that, then please stay safe. Look after yourself, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. Have a great day, and thanks for watching. I'll see you again on Wednesday. But if you do have the time and the inclination, I'll see you on the other side of this, when I can find it, for the Craic. Right, let's get some music on the way. Lovely. There we go. Good morning, everyone. How are we all doing today? Hope you all had a good weekend. I spent most of yesterday in a bit of a food coma, to be perfectly honest. Been on a diet for months, and yesterday... it was my birthday, I was allowed not to. So let's go back to the very beginning of the chat. Let's see how all this panned out, shall we? First off the mark, well, it was a dead heat I'm looking at here. Steve Williamson and Gary Muirhead. I have to say, well, good morning, Steve, first of all. But I have to say, Gary Muirhead, you made my morning. Quite how I haven't cracked that one open yet, frankly, is a mystery to me as much as it is to anyone else. But I'm looking forward to doing so. Thank you very much indeed. Completely undeserved, but much appreciated. And if you can have a look, just let me adjust the camera there. You can see, no, it's there. There. My sign is up. Thanks again, Henry, for that. I am going to send you a video message a bit later this morning once I get the time, but thank you very much indeed for that. Who was next in line? Ken Hatcher. Yeah, Ken Hatcher has got the cold weather, much the same as we've got. -1 here this morning when I first got up, and it looks like it's going to be the same thing again tomorrow, and there is some talk of the beast from the east, so possible snow, which is just the sort of time you want to be out on site with a camera. It's going to be fun. Wish I could say I was looking forward to it. I'm really not. I think that's probably our friend Mick. Good morning, Mick. Still seeing you as a Facebook user rather than your actual name. Jim Turner's in the house. Morning, Jim. Thank you very much indeed for being here. And there's Gary Muirhead as well. You're welcome. Hope you enjoy them. I will savour every single drop. Trust me, it's something that comes across my taste buds so very rarely. Although there are a couple of places in Vegas that I know have, they have both of those on tap. So yeah, looking forward to getting back to a proper country that has root beer readily available. We are taking submissions. If anyone would like to suggest a name for our new weekly news show, and just so you know, we're planning to be done and dusted in somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes. No video, just going to be, here's the news, here's a machine, here's another machine, here's another machine, details thereof, photographs and stuff, and then we're done. We will keep the airwaves open for the chat, but given this is going to be a lunchtime show, I'm not expecting or anticipating anybody hanging around for quite the same length of time they do here, but that will be the plan anyway. So if you've got any suggestions on what we might call that, clever, sarcastic, creative, whatever you like. The Sprocket Show, Ken Hatcher is actually naming his own show there, but it's a thought. We'll put that into the hat, see how we get along. My question of the day today was, are you planning to attend PlantworX? And I know we've had some answers on that. Let's have a look. Jim Turner is a definitely. Jim, the coffee's on me. Ken Hatcher, not sure. I'd like to, but it's a long drive. Yes, if you were going to the East of England Showground, you wouldn't necessarily want to start in Wales, would you? Gary Muirhead says, no, not at the moment, but if things change, I'd love to be there. We'd love to have you there, Gary. Is there a Scott plant this year? Is that every year? I can never remember, because if it is this year, I want to be there. Our friend Rob over on YouTube. Rob, I can only apologise. I will go and have a look, but we get a lot of stuff here. And I'm not complaining, because a lot of it is well worth having. But let's have a look. Steve Williamson says he's not going to be at PlantworX because he's going to be in Dubai. My understanding is that will be his honeymoon. So when are you actually doing the deed, Steve? Is that in June? Let us know. Kerry Jones as well. He's in the house and he's a maybe for all things PlantworX. Now, I've mentioned the fact that I've written to Suella Braverman. I realise going in, I wasn't expecting government to stop and to dash to my door to appease me in any way. I really wasn't. But listen, you've got to stand up for something, right? But our friend Mick Norton says, HSC response to his request for a public inquiry in October. It is rare, says the HSC, for the HSC to seek the consent of the Secretary of State to direct that a public inquiry is held for a special report to be produced. These decisions are made based on the circumstances surrounding a particular incident. The incident involving the deaths of the 4 men who lost their lives at Didcot is not one where the HSC has needed to hold a public inquiry. Our focus continues to be on concluding that investigation. How much focus is my question, but we will keep the pressure on. As I said, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I think you saw the outpouring of frustration, anger, and in some cases grief on last Thursday's show, which marked the 7th anniversary of the Didcot disaster. Keep the pressure on. That's all we can do as independent bystanders. Not entirely sure whether Rob is enjoying the show. Half of your discussions naming organisations and entities no one knew existed. I'm sorry. Mick Norton is a no for PlantworX. Steve Williamson says they love their mini wheel loaders in Germany. Yeah, the whole of the continent pretty much loves their mini wheel loaders. Ken Hatcher says looks like a copy of the green one from Finland. That would be the Avant, I think you're talking about there, Ken. That's just something. There's just something that work in America but don't work here. But I don't know why. It's not like the Americans and the Germans have any specific applications that we don't have here. Why do they do it and we don't? Or more to the point, why don't we and they do? Don't know. Question 8. No, but hopefully I get my new false choppers today. That's if the idiot don't drop them again. Yes. It's something that I'm going to have to look into in the very near future. I don't know if anybody's noticed. I'm not going to dwell on it. After my whack on the head a while back, it basically broke my jaw and it pushed all of my teeth out of line, and it pushed one basically up. Well, that one has now fallen out. I'm glad, because it was bloody painful, to be perfectly honest. It was pushing everything else to one side as well. But I'm on the verge of having to consider false choppers, as our friend Mick calls them. Lots of sand in the USA, there most certainly is. Inside job or not, from a constructionist point of view. Not sure what that one's talking about. Looks like it could be a right mud hole if the weather's not in your favour. Yeah, well, again, as you know, we have been giving away, and we've got more to give away at some point. We've been giving away rubber ducks with the PlantworX logo on them, and the reason for that is precisely that. The first show was a bit of a wet disaster. The second show was even worse, to the point where myself and Fred were there on the opening day of that first show. Camera bags at the ready. The cameras never came out of the bag once because the rain was coming in sideways. I think they've had rain every single year. Now, they obviously have pushed it back this time. It's previously been in sort of April, May time. This time it's going to be in June. You would like to think that June will be better weather. But yes, if it rains, it's a really unpleasant place to be. But fingers crossed. And bizarrely, looking at ConExpo, you know, I've been planning to take t-shirts and, not shorts, but t-shirts and light trousers and maybe a light jacket for the evening, because it's Nevada and it's a desert and it's Las Vegas and so on. It's been cold. It's actually been about the same temperature there as it has here. Looking at the long-term forecast, we should be up to the 20 degrees or thereabouts by the time we touch down in Las Vegas. Fingers crossed, but bearing in mind they've actually had blizzards in California, who the hell knows? Go back to that one. Do I get paid to play these company videos? No, I do not. If anybody out there would like to pay me to play their videos, I'd be more than happy to accept your money, but no, we do not. Volvo are so far ahead in technology and innovation in the industry. They really are. Yeah, they really are. It's not my job to rank these things. Obviously, you know, we know the rankings in terms of the size of these companies. Caterpillar, biggest. Komatsu, second biggest. XCMG, third biggest. In terms of innovation and product development, it's very, very hard to rank them because a lot of it goes on behind the scenes. I remember being told by JCB that they actually come up with 55, on average, 55 new or improved products every year. So that's one per week. More than one per week. So they're no mugs either. Bobcat obviously is pushing the envelope. Liebherr is pushing the envelope. Fantastic work being done at JCB, Komatsu and all these. You have to say Volvo with electric and fossil-free steel and autonomous machines, they are the one to watch at the moment. I remember Kengo. Not sure what that was. Or is that Kenko? I'm not sure, entirely sure. Just got in confirmation email from Hudig in America. You'll see me operating a Hudig. Cannot wait. Well, I can't wait either. I will do my level best to, well, not me, I will probably get Fred to come and point a camera in your general direction. I remember Kenco. They were there years ago. Use my name. See, this is the level of fame that you enjoy, Ken. Ordering 2 t-shirts from you today for ConExpo. Well, fantastic stuff. I don't know which ones you're planning to get. I would certainly recommend the Diggers and Dozers ones. Obviously, Diggers and Dozers is our bigger brand, which pains me enormously, but obviously Demolition News is something of a niche market, whereas Diggers and Dozers is truly global. Fred currently has more than 1 million followers around the world across the various social media platforms. So if you're going to support a brand, I would strongly recommend you go for Diggers and Dozers, because I think most people will look at Demolition News and go, who? What? Why? But yeah, have a look at that. I've also got a couple of bits and pieces. I know I've got a t-shirt coming on its way from Wyoming in the States, from my mate Jonathan Dowling over at Demo Boys in the States, and I'm also expecting very, very soon a new hat from my mate Martin Johansson up at Norwegian Earth Movers. Hopefully be able to take both of those to the States, and hopefully the weather will be good enough for me to be able to support them. Never tried root beer since Steve Williamson. Steve. Put down your spicy banana pizza. Put down your white chocolate cream egg. Go find yourself a can of root beer. You can thank me later. I realise this is a very niche topic, but years ago when McDonald's first opened its doors here on UK shores, root beer used to be on the menu. You could get your Coke and your Diet Coke and so on down the line, but you could also buy root beer, and they had it on tap. And I myself and my best mate, sadly no longer with us, were addicted to the stuff. And I don't know quite how they made it. I've always had this idea that they made it using like a base syrup mixed with a carbonated water or whatever it was. Because every once in a while you would go in there and it would be doubly strong. And the only way I can describe the taste, and I mean this in the best possible way, is it tastes like Windolene window cleaner. It's that good. I realise that's strange, but literally, I used to phone my mate Bruce, get to McDonald's in Sutton, which is close to where we both lived. It's really strong at the moment, and he'd literally jump in the car, drive to McDonald's to get himself a super sweet and super strong root beer. And then they discontinued it, and it is truly one of those. I know other people have. They remember where they were when JFK was shot. They remember where they were when they heard the news of Princess Diana's departure. Myself, the loss of root beer at McDonald's, terrible shame. Mind you, it could have been a coffee. Not sure. Kenco. Yes. Okay. I'm drawing the things. Have you tried Dr. Pepper? Says Rob. Yes, I have. Not a fan. Not a fan, I'm afraid. I don't know. Dandelion and burdock? Yes. Dr. Pepper? No, for me. Scott Plant is next year, so my next trip to Scotland may be a year away, unless I can do something magical. 27th of May is D-Day, then flying away on the 30th for 12 months. Right, okay. So 27th of May is not D-Day in the traditional sense of the word, it's D-Day because that's when Steve Williamson, when a poor unsuspecting woman is going to make a decent man of Steve Williamson. She has my deepest sympathies, but congratulations, Steve, for 27th. Typical HSA reply, says our friend Mick. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm expecting nothing more from Suella Braverman either. Eric Hill is in the house. Morning. Eric, good morning. As we were just talking Didcot once again. Eric was one of those that was actually injured when the White House came down at Didcot on the 23rd of February 2016. So good morning, Eric, and I wish you well, sir. The UK is scared of change, probably why we're so behind and don't follow other countries. Yeah, I think there's a degree of that. And I mean, listen, you are right at the very cutting edge of that, aren't you? You are big on your tilt rotators, which up until a few years ago were a novelty, something that we pointed at the Scandinavians and laughed about, and yet those that have bought into them and those that have pursued it and pioneered it, like yourself, Steve, can now see actually there was something in this all along, and we've been a bit slow to take it on. And I would say exactly the same about things like the automatic quick couplers, the oil quicks, and the Lenhoffs and the steel wrists, we just sometimes we were just a bit conservative, and I actually think that I wonder if that is down to the fact that so much of our equipment in this country is still sold to rental organisations. I think where you have, particularly in places like Scandinavia, where you have sort of one-man bands or 2 or 3 man bands, and they buy it, and even homeowners, you know, some homeowners will have an Avant compact wheel loader to keep the snow cleared, to mow their lawn, to do some utility work and that kind of thing. We don't have that here. And I think because the plant hirers and the rental companies tend to wait for demand from the market, we are that little bit slower to take on those new ideas. And I do think, as you've just rightly said, we are behind other countries, which is, again, I think that's one of the reasons that things like Bauma and things like ConExpo and the other major shows as well are always worth a visit. It's always good to see what the others are doing, because there might be something you look at it and go, I know I could do that. Steve Williamson says, yes, it will be diggers and dozers. Fred will be so pleased. Nice show ground, Peterborough. Is there enough on show to fill the sheds too? There is some inside. I know the last time there was quite a big area inside that was set aside for things like simulators, like the likes of 10 Star were there. PlantworX were, I think PlantworX sponsored that part of it as well. So there was a big bit of technology indoors, and I think some of the people like, I think Pertec were in there as well, you know, hydraulic hoses and that kind of thing. I'm going to throw this one up. There we are. Mick Saunders says, out of interest, does Mick Norton have any idea how many HSE bods are working on this report for DIDCOT? I personally think they do not know what to do with it all, and are just passing the buck around the office. It was the same question I asked on the show last week. You know, is there a team working on this full time, or is it one man that picks it up, puts it down every once in a while to reassure his boss that he has actually done something? And again, you know, as critical as I often am of the HSE, this is not entirely their problem. The primacy still rests with Thames Valley Police, so it's Thames Valley Police that need to pull their finger out, which is, again, why I've written to Suella Braverman. In vain, I fully appreciate that. I'm not expecting a sensible resolution out of that, but it does make you wonder just how long or how many people are working on it, and whether they're working full time. I can't honestly believe, even if they were looking for one smoking gun, one piece of steelwork, one piece of evidence, whatever it was, to say that there is the cause. 7 years? Really? I don't believe it. I can't. And bearing in mind, as I've said numerous times before, we had a similar situation in America, in Ohio, I think that was 2019, and they had 2 people buried and killed at a power station collapse, warehouse collapse in Ohio, and theirs was, the bodies were recovered in less than a month, and the whole investigation was done and dusted, prosecution, fines levied, blame appointed, and so on down the line. 18 months. We are more than 4.5 times more than that, and we're still waiting for some sort of resolution. Mick Norton says, I will ask the HSE. Thank you very much indeed for that. If that assumption is right, then the police need to be investigated as to why it's taking so long. Yeah, and I also wonder, I realise, from the very moment that the boiler house hit the ground, it was very clear that the primary objective of those involved, i.e. Thames Valley Police and the Health and Safety Executive, it was very, very clear that what they were looking for was some form of prosecution at some point in a future date. I understand that, and I realise if you're talking about prosecutions, maybe the police are the best leads for this. But how much do the police know about demolition? My guess is squat. How much does the Health and Safety Executive know about demolition? My feeling is squat. And again, the National Federation of Demolition Contractors has reached out to offer their assistance in the investigation. Bearing in mind that we spoke to Terry Cornby on this quite some time ago, and he'd been approached as a potential expert witness, and he turned it down on the basis that he didn't believe the Health and Safety Executive was capable of carrying out an investigation of this magnitude and this complexity. So you've got all of that. which is partly to blame for the delay, but also if you are heading up Thames Valley Police and you've got an investigation that is complex, I make no bones about that, it is going to be complex, but on the one hand you've got a very complex case here, and on the other hand here you've got an open and shut case of somebody that's mugged an old lady or been caught speeding or whatever it might be, whatever else it is that Thames Valley Police are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Where are your priorities going to lie? Are you going to involve yourself into something complex that could take forever, or are you going to go for the quick wins that satisfy the tick boxes that you need to meet in order to satisfy Suella Braverman and the UK government? And all the time that this is being forgotten, I didn't particularly want to be on radio or TV or anything like that, but there was no coverage whatsoever this year. So the media, the wider media, has forgotten about it. I know Construction News covered it, obviously we covered it as well, but the wider media has forgotten about it. Parliament has forgotten about it. It was actually a question in the House of Commons the day after Didcot happened. It was mentioned again, I think, on the anniversary, first anniversary, as to the best of my knowledge, not been mentioned since. I know, Dr. Terry interview. If only you could see the trouble that we have nailing down dates that he and I can do. Despite the fact that Terry is largely retired these days, he's probably busier than he's ever been doing this, that and the other, and nailing him down for an appointment. To the point where my current standing on it is there's nothing in the diary. My current belief is my best bet is to wait until I get back from ConExpo so that my desk is completely clear, at which point I can say to Terry, there's 3 months of my calendar, pick a date and we'll stick to that. Working on it, work in progress. Mick, someone says they know nothing, a public inquiry is needed. If Terry didn't want anything to do with it, then something's not right here. Yeah, and Terry wasn't alone. I know of at least one other that was approached and took exactly the same approach. So, it's you have to question. You certainly have to question the time that the investigation is taking, but you also have to question the validity of it as well. But again, all we can do as at the end of the day, all I am is a journalist. I sit on the periphery of these things. All I can do is report on it and hopefully keep a bit of pressure on. So yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. Right, people, I'm going to remind you one last time, there is no show tomorrow. Please don't ask, because I won't be here to even answer. I will be freezing my bits off on a very cold and quite possibly snowy London site tomorrow. Myself and Fred huddled together for warmth or something similar. So I'll be back on Wednesday. For those of you that are invited, and I know at least one of you is, possibly more than one, we are convening for the first time the Construction Content Creators Club at 7 p.m. on the 1st of March, that's Wednesday, and then we've got a complete programme of this for the rest of the week, uninterrupted, and hopefully uninterrupted right the way through until we head off to Las Vegas, when there'll be a bit of sketchy coverage of the show. So I'll probably do 2, possibly 3 shows live from Las Vegas. And then it'll be back to work as normal. And then we'll be counting down to PlantworX, and there's one other thing that I've got in mind that I'd really like to do if we can make it happen, but I'll keep you posted on that. And then obviously on the beginning of April, I'm not going to go any further than that because I need to be assured that I can do it. Wonder if apples still taste the same. We go back to his false choppers again, aren't we? They haven't changed them, as far as I know, Mick. I think apples is still pretty much apples. But yes, but let me know if you get your teeth today. Let me know how you get on with your apple. So yes, we are going to be launching that new show, which is currently unnamed. Gary, it's a good question, and the answer is no. For those of you that don't know, Reg is our roving robot reporter. He's not a reporter. He doesn't rove. He's not even a robot. He is an artificial intelligence thing that we use to generate a robotic voice. And the reason we did it was an easy way for us to cover the launch of machines where we weren't provided with video content from the manufacturers. That was my thinking then. My thinking now, 18 months after we first unleashed Reg on the world, is that becomes the standalone show. So although it works better in full screen, so if you imagine me sat here, but here will be a photograph of the new machine, and I will talk about that new machine for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, just to deliver the basic features, benefits, dimensions and that kind of thing, so dig depths and engine powers and what it's powered by and so on down the line. You will then have the opportunity down in the chat here to vote whether it's a hit or miss. While you're doing that, we'll go on to the next one, and hopefully we'll be doing 3, 4, possibly even 5 products per show, and then we're out. We will keep the chat open. As I say, we're going to be doing this in the afternoon, and it's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, just so you know, so hopefully it will be around about your lunchtime. We will be gathering for that, and then if you want to get back to work, or if you want to go and eat your apples, as our friend Mickey's about to do, then you can head off. But if you fancy sticking around for a chat, either on those machines or anything else that takes your fancy, you can do that as well. So that's the plan, but we do need to come up with name for the show, branding for the show. I need to do some clever way of showing the hit and miss thing, and the other bits and pieces we've got in mind as well. Mick Saunders says that's if Asda's got any. Yeah, I think it's tomatoes primarily we're missing out. Although I've been in a couple of shops over the weekend, plenty of tomatoes. Don't know what the fuss is all about. Mick Saunders says have a good one. I need to do my ablutions, as they say. I'm not going to dwell on that for very much longer. So, people, that's going to be best part of an hour of anyone's time. So, go have yourselves a good day. I won't see you tomorrow, but I will be back on Wednesday. Join us if you can. Lots and lots of good stuff to share with you. I'll keep you posted as the developments of the new show come together. You will be the first to know, obviously, because you are our loyal and trusted audience, and I really want you to be a part of it as well. Just on that subject, the reason that we are going for an afternoon slot is because we discussed it over on, I'm just trying to find a thing on my Stream Deck. We discussed it actually over the weekend in our WhatsApp group. If you'd like to be part of that WhatsApp group, I've just posted a link to it in the chat. So if you'd like to have any input on the new show, what it looks like, what it sounds like, and so on down the line, let us know in the WhatsApp chat. You can sign up using the form that I've just posted in the chat. Right, that's enough. More than enough. Go have a good day. I'll see you again on Wednesday. Wish me well out in the blizzards tomorrow, assuming the blizzards arrive. But I'll see you very soon. Till then, all the very best.